Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well this evening. It's Fred and Sheila with Hatfield, McCoy Museum Adventures, and Fred and Sheila Investigates.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. This is Sheila's still got the flu and under the weather, so we're just going to use our picture there, which is good because she's going to be showing a lot of documents as we go through this video. You guys may recognize Mr. Fraudulent there, aka Mike Elam. Guys, Mike Elam, if you haven't figured it out by now, Mike Elam speaks with a forked tongue. What kind of man goes through his life and dedicates the latter part of it for nothing more than to defame somebody that he's jealous of. He envies. It's clear. I mean, there's no other reason for a person to be like poor old Mike Elam. You've got to feel sorry for him. He needs our prayers before he's like me. He's getting up there in years. He needs some prayers to get rid of that hatred and that anger for Buford Pusser before he goes one day. Wouldn't it be something to be in the pits of hell and look up and see Buford Pusser in heaven looking down at you? Wouldn't that be the irony of all this? And don't think that it can't happen. This is not going to be a bash Mike Elam video. It's not going to be. I hope not. Sheila and I want to show you some items. We're going to let Mike Elam's latest video play. And as he plays through it, we're going to stop on certain items and we're going to talk and we're going to try to show proof and different things that may counter what he's saying, but truth with proof. Instead of behind his head there, truth has no agenda. Mike Elam has an agenda. Mike Elam's loves to get hits on his podcast. He loves to do his Facebook. He loves to sell books. He loves to do bus tours, even though he says that he doesn't do bus tours. Go to Fred McCoy 40, go to my channel and look at the one of Mike Elam where he says people are idiots when they say that he does bus tours because he doesn't do them. Everything that we try to prove on our videos that we try to show is with proof. Truth with proof, right, babe?
Right. Definitely try to have proof behind what we're saying.
In Mike's video, he says that he would like to see him keep the museum open. Now, he's fought it all these years and defamed it and all these different things. But now that the people of McNairy County and Adamsville says, hey, we don't want the museum going anywhere. We haven't seen nothing that proves guilt that Buford Pusser ever done anything wrong. Mike Elam says, well, I'd like to see the museum stay open, but I'd like to see them put statements in there from the TBI's investigation. Statements from people that says that their dead mother or grandmother or aunt said this or that. Statements for a man makes a statement that this exists or that exists and it's never existed. It was proven to be a rumor. Where the TBI says that this person grinned or that person done this or that. So we think, even though they told us this, we think what they meant was that. You want to put that TBI report in the museum? Where were these people, Mike? Where was you? Where was you at this meeting? Go ahead, Punk. You got something to say?
No, I was wondering why some of the people that are saying all this wasn't at the meeting to
Exactly.
defend what they had said.
Exactly. Where was Mr. Howell? Where was these two, a niece and a daughter that said they heard Shirley say this or that? When Shirley's on a video doing nothing but bragging on Buford
Hmm.
Pusser, where people from that area says that Shirley and Junior come to all the Buford Pusser celebrations, went to the restaurant, all these different things that proves differently. See, there's when you got proof that shows otherwise, that beats a rumor anytime. I'm getting way off track. Way off track. We're going to play Mike's video here. We're going to play his video, and then I'm going to pick up somewhere down through here, and we're going to stop it. But let's let him play for a second.
Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Here at the University of Beaufort Pusser School of Higher Learning, today we're going to take a look at just 3 pages of the TBI file. And we're going to
Stop.
tear into that.
Guys, this is not a university of higher learning. I can assure you. I can assure you that what Mr. Elam sells is more like the medicine doctors back in the old West days where they would pull up and sell it as if it would cure anything. That's Mike Elam. It's anything but a university. Go ahead, Punk. I had
about
something
Jim
else, but I've lost
Moffett,
my
so you ought to
spot.
find it interesting. So be sure and pull your pens and pads out of the desk and put them out there where you can take notes because you've got an assignment here today. As we go through this, I want you to look for everything positive that
Stop.
Jim.
What I was going to comment on earlier, and I got sidetracked, was the report. He holds up a report. He holds up 3 pages. And that's what he's going to be talking about for the next 30 minutes is this so-called report. I'll tell you what let's do right now. We're gonna stop him and I'm gonna Sheila's gonna probably implement a report here for you right now. And I want to show you what a report looks like. And the report that she's going to put right here, it says Tennessee Bureau of Investigations investigative report at the main top. That's the letterhead. That's the top of the page. This is what a report should look like. It's got the case number 5-644. That's Pauline and Buford's case. And it says author Michael Parsons. Michael W. Parsons. Activity date 07-2023. Report date 7/21. That's the date that he filled it out. And it says that with him, that this is a cold case. You're probably following along with me looking at this paper, but it says that with him was James Brandon Elkins. See, all these guys here are famous. All these investigators. Not only did this report make Mark Davison and David Roush famous, it also made these guys. These guys' name is on these reports. They are forever more famous as well. So we got Brandon Elkins, Michael Parsons, and then look down here at the bottom. It was approved by Mark Lewis. There's 3 more. Now, not to mention the 4 or 5 expert witnesses, not to mention the anthropologist, the pathologist, not to mention all these other people that's in this report. But this says description, interview, audio with Lydia Ruth Travis, 07-21-23. That's interesting. So, but it says Buford Hayes Pusser, S for suspect. Now, back during the FBI videos that we've done before, it had Buford Pusser and it had Pauline Pusser as victims, both of them. Not only the FBI file, but also the TBI file in the beginning. Victims. Now they've changed them. Now it's 2023, 2025. Now they've changed them. Now Buford's a suspect and she's a victim. Let's see what the agent's note here says. TBI agents obtained information that an individual identified as Lydia Ruth Travis as someone potentially having information concerning the case. The following is a brief synopsis of an audio recorded interview with Lydia Ruth Travis conducted on 20 July the 20th, 2023. The agents themselves interviewed her. Let's go on. The synopsis is not verbatim. Guys, I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. It's too easy nowadays to hit transcribe on a computer and you can give a report, give a statement, give a briefing, give a anything verbatim. It's not that hard. It's not like you once had to do it when you sat and transcribed it out. There's no reason for any kind of a report, especially with the TBI. There's no reason for it not to be verbatim. The entire interview from start to finish. So we can see, was there leading questions? Was there exculpatory evidence toward Buford taken out? Why would you only have a half of a paragraph here that she says? And the half a paragraph that she talks about is negative toward Buford Pusser. Is that all she said was one paragraph and they got up and left? And then it says not verbatim, but we recommend that you read or listen to the entire audio. Well, if you wanted us to listen to it or see it, why didn't you include it in? If we didn't want to read the whole thing or look at it, we could have skipped over it. Imagine, imagine them skipping something that they could have made another dollar or two on by each page, because they charge you by the page for buying this report, a state report that was gathered on state funded investigators, but yet they're going to charge you to get a copy of it. So since they're that into making money, why wouldn't they went ahead and put verbatim? That would have got them some extra money here. They could have made extra dough. I have a feeling because it's exculpatory. I have a feeling because it wouldn't make Buford look as bad as they wanted to make him look. Could I be wrong? Could I be wrong, babe?
Yeah, anything's possible.
Of course we could. Of course you could be wrong. If we're right, it's me. If we're wrong now, you make sure you all blame Sheila.
Uh-huh.
Okay. On Thursday, July the 20th, 2023, at approximately 8:27 a.m., Michael Parsons and Brent Booth interviewed Lydia Ruth Travis at, since they've got her address redacted, it's probably her house, but who knows? It could be another coffee shop. After proper identification and explanation of the purpose of the interview, Lydia Ruth Travis voluntarily provided the following information. Now, we've taken up a paragraph here on this paper. We do this on every one of these. It takes up a paragraph just explaining it. Oh, yeah, now we've identified ourselves. We showed them our badges and we told her what we was there about. She knows what you're there about. You had to make an appointment to meet her. You've already contacted her. You didn't just show up and knock on the door. Lydia Ruth Travis stated that she worked at McNairy County Sheriff's Department in the jail and on the road for 21 years and was the 911 director for 19 years. You're going to hear Mike Elam after a while comment on this, and when he does, I'll have another comeback for him. Travis reported that she started working for McNairy County Sheriff Clifford Coleman in 1972, and Travis stated, "Thank God she never worked for Buford Pusser." Now, isn't that something that you go straight? They're saying this is not verbatim.
Mhm.
I have a hard time believing that she was telling them that, yeah, I worked at McNairy County Sheriff's Office for Clifford Coleman in 1972. And then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, she said, "Thank God that I never worked for Buford Pusser." Do you? I could be wrong. We don't know because we don't have verbatim here. They've taken it out of context. First, they put in there where she worked, and she worked for Clifford Coleman. Now, if you'll remember, Clifford Coleman is the one that won the last election. So that would have been Buford's opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she worked for Buford's opponent. So do you expect her to say anything good about Buford if Buford was running for sheriff? Clifford Coleman hadn't won that election. This lady would not had a job. Did she know that had Buford Pusser won, or had she asked Buford Pusser for a job in the past? Because if she worked as a dispatcher for 19 years, then she was there when Buford Pusser was the sheriff during his 3 terms, his 6 year tenure. Had she ever asked Buford Pusser for a job? That'd be a good question to know. I'd like to put her under oath, and maybe that will happen and say, in all those years, did you ever ask Buford Pusser for employment as a deputy, as a office worker, anything like that? Let's see what she says. Travis revealed that she had a conversation with Jim Moffett one night before she ever went to work for the McNairy County Sheriff's Department. Babe, interrupt me anytime.
Okay. No, you're good so far. I do have a question, but it's later on.
You sure?
Yep.
Travis remarked that she was working at a truck stop in Selmner in the late 1960s. Well, now, guys, let's go back up here a minute. I'm not a mathematician, but she says up here that she was a dispatcher for 19 years and that she went to work for Clifford Coleman in 1972. But she says down here that she was working at a truck stop in the late 60s. How late? How late? How 60s at all? 19 years from 1960 itself would be 80. That would be 1980. That's 1979. How can she be a dispatcher? Travis remarked that she was working at a truck stop in Selmner in the late 1960s. I don't know. Uh, Again, verbatim would have been nice, and we could have figured out what led up to that question, what led up to that statement, how they got there, because it's certainly not adding up. I'm going to tell you something, guys. I'm going to stop right here a minute. And I'm going to tell you, when you read these reports from these so-called TBI agents, I want to really emphasize to you about the credibility and the honesty and the integrity of police officers nowadays. I don't care what agency, I don't care what title, I don't care the position they hold. Don't take everything that a police officer or an investigator tells you as the truth. I have found out in 40-year career in law enforcement that police officers, investigators, directors, prosecutors are human, are human, and they have human needs, human wants, they're not all honest and high in the integrity department. And this is another thing that you're seeing here, because verbatim is not adding up to what I'm reading here already. Travis commented that Jim Moffett told her, Ruth, I've got to get out of here before I get killed. Travis stated that she said, what are you talking about, Jim? And he said, I got to quit. There's too much going on. Travis provided that Jim Moffett was talking about getting killed by Buford Pusser. Now, if this was a recorded interview, and that's who she's talking about, it would have been nice to heard her exact words verbatim. This investigator here, he says, what are you talking about, Jim? She asked, and he said, I've got to quit. There's too much going on here. And then quotations, Travis provided that Moffett was talking about getting killed by Buford Pusser. That's a third party talking there. We didn't hear her say that. We heard this investigator put that in his words. That's what he's saying. Somewhat like Warren Jones, that had been let go by the FBI after a year and a half employment. He was discharged from the FBI. For what reason, we've never found out for sure. But that's what you're looking at here. Is that what she said? Or is that what this investigator interpreted her to say? Somewhat like Mr. Howell. Mr. Howell said, I've never told nobody who told me that. Well, he's never told nobody who told him that because he made it up. He's the source of that rumor. Mr. Howe is. But they said, well, but he grinned, which made us think that Hugh Kirkpatrick told him, the police chief. Guys, you can't go by grins and you can't go by people that makes things up. If they don't have a source to tell you to go check it out and verify it with, that means it's a rumor. And that means that person is probably the author of that rumor. Somewhat like you see in front of us on that screen. You may still be looking at this report right now, but behind this report is Mr. Elam. And
I,
that's the way he likes to work. Go ahead.
I've got something to comment
All
on.
right.
That's the paragraph I was talking about. I was telling you I was going to comment on.
Okay.
I didn't take it as Mr. Moffett was saying that Buford was going to kill him. I was taking it as where they were busting so many steals and interfering of every people's money uh, situations
Yeah.
that he was going to get killed from that,
Yeah.
not from Mr. Pusser killing him, but from people being mad at what they were doing
Boy,
in
that's good, babe.
retaliation,
That's good.
not Mr. Pusser.
See, I've had people, babe, that's good. Appreciate your input there
Miss
because that's
Travis,
true.
she just threw that in there. Sounds like
Well,
that.
sounds like the investigators, babe. You got to understand,
Hmm.
you've got an investigative agency that's trying to reach a
Hmm.
narrative. So whether she threw it in or whether she made that statement and then they took it and run with it as Buford's
Hmm.
going to get me killed. Guys, I've had people when I was working undercover drugs, people, informants, and we had one to get killed. We had one. There's no doubt in my mind that the sheriff didn't have something to do
Yeah.
with his death. One of the best informants, one of the best people. He just took some wrong turns in life, but he was a heck of an informant, a heck of a person to take us around. And he ultimately got killed. And it's the only person that we had ever told the sheriff. He nailed us down to where we had no other choice. And we told him who the informant was. And next thing you know, that informant is dead. Well, the informant come to us first and said,
Hmm.
"Are you trying to get me killed?
Hmm.
Are you trying to get me killed?" And we tried to explain to him that the sheriff had told us, he ordered us. We had no other choice. And then he told us that a guy had put a gun to his head that he'd bought drugs from and told him that the sheriff had told him that he's the one that was
The lead.
working with
Hmm.
us.
Yeah.
And he ended up dead. And Sheila, but that's a great point.
I didn't
Buford's
take
going
that
to get
way.
me killed. Buford's going to get me killed because we're out here raiding all these moonshine steals.
Exactly. That's the way I took it. I'm gonna get. He said before I get killed. He
Yeah.
didn't mean Buford was gonna kill him. He's
Yeah.
saying because of all that they were doing and interfering with everybody's money that was they were bringing in that
How many
from their
times has
moonshine.
people that me and my partner, uh, we used to pay good money to uh, to informants to take us around to drug dealers so we could buy drugs from them, and they would introduce us like they'd known us all of our life, and that's what got us in the door. Good informants. Police work is not about police officers. Don't let police officers kid you. Police officers get our information from the public. We get our information from people that trust us and tell us things, or that we even pay as paid informants. Um, Babe, that's great.
Yeah,
You're
I didn't take
exactly
it that
right.
way at all.
Well, that's the way the TBI, how they wrote things up. Again, that's probably why anytime I see these reports and it says not verbatim,
Hmm.
then you know that you're getting ready to read something that's not true. That's not factual.
Okay.
That's my opinion, but I'm telling it as a show us the why can we not hear these videos? Why, if you're going to pay $400 for a report, shouldn't we at least have the videos, the audio included in so we can listen to these people's voices, so we can see if there's leading questions, so if we can see if what they're writing down in this report is exactly, but don't worry, they're going to get to hear it now that Madison has attorneys
Hmm.
and they're going to get all this stuff in court. We'll get to hear it all one day in court, not only them, but also Mr. Elam, because there's more suits coming.
Yeah.
I have a
And
feeling that there's more suits coming, so everybody should be treated fairly in this. And they wanted to be famous, so I think they're going to be about as famous as they've ever wanted to be. Travis provided Moffett was talking about getting them killed. Travis claimed that's all Jim Moffett ever told her, and that Jim Moffett never talked about it again. Travis expressed that she never talked to P.D. Plunk about it and that not long after that, PD Plunk got sick with cancer and left the sheriff's department. Well, all we got to know is when PD left the sheriff's department or got sick, we can know about what year this was. Travis remarked that when she was working at the McNairy County Sheriff's Department under Clifford Coleman, Buford Pusser's chief deputy, Jim Moffett, was still working at the sheriff's office under. Now, ain't that something? Sheila and I just bragged on him the other day, how
Mhm.
everybody bragged on Jim Moffett. Everybody loved Jim Moffett. How many
Mhm.
people can go out here during an election? No doubt he supported Buford Pusser. That's who he worked for. And then he went to work for the guy that beat him in the election,
Mhm.
Clifford Coleman.
Coleman kept him on, so that says a lot.
Kept him on. And that does say a lot. Thank God she never worked for Buford. Does that make him a murderer? Guys, I don't think he had anything. I'm like Sheila. I don't. I think what he meant there was going to get him killed as far as that. And I think she's probably asked Buford during those years for a job, and he just didn't give her a job. Probably mad because she never had a job. Daughter says, never heard one bad word. Isn't that funny that
Mhm.
this lady says that? But Jim Moffat's own daughter, living daughter today, not somebody that says, "Oh, I heard this, I heard." She says, I never heard my daddy say the first bad thing about Buford Pusser." How many of you heard your dads and moms talk growing up about personal or private things? They forget you're in the room, or you're taking a nap and they think you're asleep and you're listening. I never heard my daddy say one bad thing about Buford Pusser. Go ahead, Punk. Let's listen to a little bit more. Guys, in a minute, what I want to show you there, in fact, Sheila, let's just go ahead and throw it up there. Sheila is going to throw these reports up now. The reports there's 3 pages that he's going to go over. And what you're going to see is just a page of, of typewritten propaganda. It says Thomas Blackwell at the top, investigator, and it's got a code, a file number, to, from, and subject, somewhat like a letter, somewhat like there's no letterhead that says TBI. Go back and look at your report on the other side, because I'm going to show you some reports after a while. I'm going to show you some documents, even back to the 60s. Forget the 60s, back to the 1800s. Let's go back to the 1776, to the Declaration of Independence. People has been signing reports and professional documents for way before 1967, way before this ambush. Why do we not see no witnesses? Why do we not see no signatures? Why do we not see no letterhead? Why do Guys, this is so false. And as you're looking at it here right now, you're probably going through and looking. What's that?
Why is it written out there? See how that the files they marked it out and wrote it in handwritten?
Well, I'm a good question, and I'm going to tell you what my belief is.
Okay.
Guys, I don't know what Warren Jones' thing was with Buford Pusser. If there's ever a police officer out here that wasn't, in my opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion. If there's ever a police officer out here that's not fair, honest, and integrity, besides some of the ones that we're seeing now in the TBI, it would be Warren Jones, the one that was released as a fingerprint analyst for the FBI. It's pretty hard to get fired from just being a fingerprint analyst. What did he do that he left the FBI after a year and a half? Why did they let him go? Or did he quit? See, we don't know, but we don't believe he quit from what the rumors that we've heard, which is nothing but rumors, so I won't repeat them here, because then I would be no better than that
That's
man
right.
on the screen. But why did they let him go from the FBI? And why did he come to the TBI? Well, I can probably tell you that because it surely required less professionalism and integrity than where he was at. I feel you, baby. Honey, it's in the proof's in the pudding. The proof's in this report that we're reading right now. The proof is in. Guys, these reports here appear to have been written by Warren Jones. These are not statements. Don't listen to Mr. Elam when he says, read the statement, read this, read that, read the report. This is not even a report. This is some words that was printed, that was typed on a paper. They could have been typed on a paper in 1983. They could have been typed on a paper at any time, because she's going to show you some documents about right now. And the documents we've posted before, but look at these two documents. They are actually looking for Buford Pusser's file. One of them is 1983 and the other one was 19 something. It'd be on this report. I'm not looking at it right now, but I know Sheila will post it here. Two different letters where they are trying to find the files on Buford Pusser and Pauline's ambush. They can't find them. Nobody in the TB, huh?
Seemed like it was 80 something.
83 was one,
Okay.
or 85, something like that.
Oh,
And the other one was in the 70s, I believe.
Okay. And they couldn't find the file.
And they couldn't find the files nowhere. So now, if they can't find the files, could this be something that was just typed up in 1983 to throw into a file? Could Warren Jones just made a synopsis and said, okay, and he threw a little bit of truth in there. He threw a little bit, okay, I went to the hospital with Moffett that day. I remember that. So I'm going to throw this in there. I went here, so I'm going to throw this in there, but I'm also going to mention, and all of his thoughts, nothing with proof, nothing but thoughts, goes into this so-called report, so-called statement of Buford Pusser's or Jim Moffett's. So when you look at Mike Elam here and he's talking, he's trying to tell you to study this report, study these statements real good. You don't have to study nothing real good. That's nothing more than something that has been typed out, more than likely, in my opinion, by Warren Jones. But go ahead and pick up. Let's let it play for a minute. Pick up on the other side.
Has to say about Buford Pusser, and I want you to look for everything negative he has to say about Buford Pusser. Now, these documents will be posted on my Facebook.
Guys, he's holding them up there like that's official. That's just pure gold right there. He is holding up 3 papers there. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let Sheila post this letter. I'm not going to read it to you.